Assemblywoman Taylor Raynor's first 100 days in office meeting. My name is Wayne J. Hall Jr. I'm the Executive Director of the District 18 office. But before we get into our meeting, I just would like to call Freeport Village Trustee Chris Squarey up. He's here on behalf of Mayor Kennedy.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Freeport Recreation Center. We're very happy to host the Assemblywoman's first 100 days. So the mayor could not be here. He had an emergency that he had to run to, so he's asked me to fill in. I have to go to another event at 7:45, so please pardon my exit as just trying to help everyone out. So first of all, again, welcome, and second of all, we couldn't be more pleased with having Assemblywoman Raynor as our Assemblywoman and our representative in Albany. For a long time, it was, we felt like we were not fully engaged and fully represented. So we feel like we have turned a corner, and we are very happy and pleased to see the work that she is doing up in Albany on our behalf. And we look forward to working with her in so many different ways. And as we tackle each challenge, we're going to work together. Because we are such a great community here in Freeport, diverse and so many different things that bring us together, that we work, play, and live in harmony. And I think that's one of the greatest things, and that's why we're so excited to have the Assemblywoman here today, as well as representing us up in Albany. So enjoy the evening, and congratulations on your first 100 days.
So today, Thursday, April 11th, marks the 100th day that Assemblywoman Taylor Raynor has been in office. The 100 days, it has gone by very quickly. We've been out there everywhere. We hit the ground running. Like Trustee said, our community was underrepresented for a long time, and we finally got somebody in here who wants to represent us the right way. So with that said, I would like to introduce Assemblywoman Taylor Raynor.
Hi guys, thank you so much for being here on a Thursday at 7 p.m. after working and everything else we have to do to maintain our beautiful homes here in District 18. I also want to first thank you all for choosing me to represent you all. This is a huge honor. This is an honor that pretty much keeps me up 24/7. Thank God for the energy. I don't know where I get it from. But I know that our communities can be so much more than they are right now, and to be able to be a voice and be a platform and showcase the wonderful things that happen in District 18 and start working on some things that we really could improve here in Nassau County. It has been amazing. Just to give you a little bit of a day in the life, I'm very responsible for building relationships and bridges that have been burnt and destroyed. A lot of people tell me all the time that they always wanted to come and help our community and do different things, and there really wasn't an avenue to do that. So I spend a lot of time relationship building and connecting the dots, and it's really one of those things where you have to be in it to really experience it, but it's magic and it's just brilliance, where I'll meet with somebody who's handling funding for a grant, and there's opportunities for our community. And then my next meeting is, with a not-for-profit, incidentally would be able to benefit from that grant. And this is what I get to do all day. And I really want to thank my team, because I spend a lot of time in Albany because we have a Democratic House and the Senate and the Assembly. We have been able to pass a lot of legislation. So our Januaries, which used to be kind of downtime to adjust and train our teams and different things like that, we were in session constantly. We were hit with a lot of responsibility in January. So my team, without all the guidance I would have loved to give them, was able to serve each and every person that they have come in contact with. And I mean, I was eating in Freeport today and someone came up to me and said, your team provided citations last minute and they're incredible. They follow up, and you know how it is when you email a politician. You may never hear from them. And my team knows, first and foremost, you guys, my constituents, You are everything, and I don't listen to work hours. There are no work hours for us. So I really just want to introduce my team right now, because I feel like they have been the ones who've really been giving you guys the love and attention and everything you deserve here in the district right now, while I've been representing us and making sure that we receive the funding that we receive the funding here in the district that we really need and deserve. And I'm going to share a little something with you. I just received my budget allotment letter, like what I asked for versus what they New York State was able to approve. And there's so much there. If you do not ask for it, or you don't have someone asking for it, they will not give it to you. So having representation that knows that, having representation that is all over the district, not just Freeport heavy or Hempstead heavy or Uniondale heavy, really gets to meet people, the organizations, and knows all of the needs, it is very important. And then it's even more important to know the people who make those decisions, and those are the people that I spend the most time with, because whatever I have to do to make sure we get our funding and we get what we deserve, that is what I do all day. So, we'll go through the slide. Excuse us if the lighting is like really interesting. Okay, so some areas that I represent in the district are Hempstead, Uniondale, Freeport, Roosevelt, West Hempstead, Lakeview, Merrick, Baldwin, East Meadow, and we have a very, very small part of Garden City. So, but my primary areas where I do service the most people are Freeport, Uniondale, Hempstead, and Roosevelt. Oh, it's over 133,000 people that I am responsible for. And our introductions. I'm so excited to introduce my executive director, who was integral in having me jump at the opportunity to serve a lot sooner than I wanted to. And every single day, he is committed to each and every one of you. I could not be standing here without Mr. Wayne Hall Jr., who I just executive director. It goes like this. Someone calls me with an issue and I'm like, Wayne, there's an issue, solve it. Like, you know, and that's how it goes. So that again, I have the capacity to learn as much as I have to about legislation and the processes in Albany for right now. And for those who are not familiar, January through June, very Albany heavy. I'm back and forth every single day. Every Sunday I go up and I come back either Wednesday or Thursday. My team's been spending a little more time with me up there so we can start really passing legislation that supports our community, and Wayne will jump in the car and come up to Albany, and you know, we're away from our families. I pray my children are safe every day, but I know that everything that we do and that he does is for the betterment of all of us, and we're just so excited about that. Next on the list, our Director of Community Affairs, Melissa Figueroa. She has been just a light, and she works 24/7, even though she is part-time. She can't put this down. This is her life's work, making sure that our community receives what it needs and they have a voice, and also that she represents part of our community where they really have struggled with the voice, our Hispanic community, working to have Hispanic leadership bring and unify us together so that our voice is louder and that needs are met all around the board. She is away in Puerto Rico right now, and I'm so happy she's there because she has worked non-stop since December, actually. So she is there, and she sends her love and good wishes, but she's so ready to get back to all of you. So we'll clap for everybody. That's Melissa. Now, how many people have spoken to Anissa? Emailed Anissa? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we were interviewing for this position, my executive assistant position, because we get to choose. They give us a bunch of titles, and we get to choose how we want to build our team. They really don't give us any structure. It's like, what do you think your district needs? Good luck. And I knew I would need an executive assistant because A, I want to be able to learn, and B, as a former executive assistant, I said, if I try to take care of the logistics, I'm really going to sell this district short. So we needed someone who would make sure everything was organized and run smooth, and we need someone who's like Taylor number 2 to never leave the office, so there's always someone there. And she is there. She is our office manager, our executive assistant, our event planner, our volunteer trainer, we have a very modest budget, so, I decided to hire excellence, and we wear a lot of hats. So I just really want to thank Anissa, because she is always in that office, and when I can't be there, and it's just, you have no idea what she does in a day. So thank you so much, Anissa. And then we have our project director. Hi, that's little Anissa over there. And we have our project director, Dr. Velasquez. She came highly recommended by a village trustee, and she's incredible. She's helped us with our pipeline project, because we are developing a pipeline project, so that, we'll explain that later, it's coming up, okay. Our pipeline project, our volunteer training program, and just onboarding our volunteers and making sure they really get the most out of the experience, and that it's a mutually beneficial relationship. And also she's working on our grants right now, making sure that we have a really good database of grants, federal, state, local, so that we can make sure that we are requesting and we are well versed in writing and securing as much funding as we can, secure for our community. I always say, if you are great at grant writing and fundraising, you'll never go hungry. So that is something we're really going to be focused on in the summer when I do return full time to the district. So thank you, Dr. Velasquez, for everything that you've done. We also have my advisor. I don't know if we have pictures of them, but my advisor is my sister, Sydney Daniels. She is someone who really is just, she keeps me ethical. Like, and anytime I have an issue or a question, a lot of stuff comes at us. Should we take this meeting? Should we go here? It's really important to have someone you trust with your life in this realm, because you could make one wrong slip, and that could cost, a district great representation. So she is the person that I am closest to. And then there is my director of personal affairs, that's you. My cousin CJ. She is here to make sure that if I'm not able to go to events, she can attend, just to make sure, again, that I am walking the greatest line, and I'm representing you all in the right way. And there are other volunteers in here, and everyone who has volunteered, wished us well, and done all of those things. We thank you so much. So that is our team, and they are here to serve you every single day, you guys. Thank you so much.
Can you turn the lights on?
Do you want to write? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. I'm going to hand this over to our executive director. Sure, you sit here, Michael.
So just a little education on what the Assembly is, because most people, when we say we're part of the New York State Assembly, a lot of people don't know what that is. So the New York State Assembly is the lower house of the New York State Legislature. There's 150 seats in the Assembly, and now the Democrats have the majority of the Assembly, with each of the districts having an average population of 128,652. The 18th Assembly District is one of the largest. We have over 133,000 residents within our district. The responsibilities of an Assembly member, they're representing the best interests of everyone in the community while she's up in Albany, allocating funds to different organizations throughout the district, making sure constituent issues and concerns are answered and resolved. They introduce, support, and pass legislation in the Assembly. Also keeping the community informed of what matters to us, and also working with other members on budget packages that benefit the entire state of New York. I know a lot of you heard the budget, the New York State budget just passed. What was the amount on there? $175 billion. It's a large budget. So the 18th Assembly District, when Taylor Raynor decided to run, she ran on the platform of, she had 3 pillars of excellence for our district. The first is health is wealth. Without our health, we are automatically starting behind. Every family member, every senior, and every child in this district deserves to be happy and healthy. She plans to bring fresh, healthy options to our community. Why do we have so many fast food restaurants but so few juice bars? You know, there's Chinese restaurants and bodegas and everywhere on the corners, but we need more healthy options in our community. The second pillar is excellent quality of life. We are products of our environment, and if we raise our children with low standards, those standards are what they carry forward. These are words of Taylor Raynor, so if I say I took this from her page. In the 18th Assembly District, we need fail-proof plans to repair broken roads, to provide solutions for zombie homes, fix potholes, get trash picked up. There's a lot of garbage in the community that we could do a better job with cleaning up. The third pillar, excellent education and training for all. This means everyone from high school seniors to senior citizens may receive training in a variety of skills to succeed, incorporating the earn while you learn apprenticeship model. Do you want to explain that a little bit? Okay.
So, again, I just decided for January to June to focus on the budget, focus on legislation, and those projects that I have as far as bringing more labor unions and pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs to our community are something that I am working on. They come and they'll let me know during session what their interests are, what legislation they'd like for me to support or oppose, and I find the names and numbers of people who can bring programs to us to eliminate the need to have to transport students and just make sure we have options. You know, quickly I'll speak about Hempstead. If we have, you know, graduating classes where maybe college is not an option financially, or people are not college ready or as college ready as they'd like to be, it'd be great to give them those options of that earn while you learn apprenticeship model. So I've spoken with the sheet metal workers, the carpenters, the plumbers, and they are so excited because, as we know, the labor force always needs to grow. Labor is always threatened, and you know, I really feel like the labor movement is the middle class. So we want to make sure that we protect that. We want to make sure that we are able to provide new members and provide options so people can contribute to our community.
Go to the next slide. The next slide is our constituent report. So within the first 100 days, this is where I come in. I handle all of these. Lisa gives me assistance also. But so in our first 100 days, we had about 30 constituents come into office with a lot of issues ranging from securing SNAP benefits, getting abandoned cars removed from blocks. We had a couple of churches in the community that needed chapter bills, which means that they filed for tax exempt status. A lot of churches that started, they didn't realize that they were able to file tax exempt status, and they got letters in the mail that said there was a lien on their church. So when they come to the New York State Assembly office and they apply for what's called the chapter bill. So far to this day, we got 3 worship houses in our community, their tax liens taken away. We had issues with curb damage in Roosevelt on Babylon Turnpike that we got the town of Hempstead to fix. There's different housing issues. People, they're losing their homes. We point them in the right direction to get housing. You can go. Dr. Jen? I'm calling up Dr. Jen because she is the director of our projects, and the pipeline project is one of her. Also, Justin Brown. Justin, would you like to come up too? my folk putting you on the spot, but you were a part of this too, so you guys can explain.
Good evening, everyone. The pipeline project is a brainchild from our Assemblywoman, Taylor Raynor, and really the purpose is to use it as a development program for future leaders from our community. There's so much potential in our community, different ages, different genders, ethnicities. There's so much potential in our community, and your Assemblywoman has dialed in on that and is looking towards the future. So with this pipeline project, we use it as a development training program to bring in people with this potential, with this desire for civic engagement, getting involved, people just like you who are sitting amongst us, who start with this training program and learn what it's like to be part of the government as a legislature. So it could be it begins as training, teaching the simple basics of our government, working through what it's like to run a campaign, what it's like to be a candidate, and what it takes to be a candidate. But we don't stop there. We keep going and educating so that way the people who are in this program can move on and forward, and if they choose one day to move and either support a candidate or actually be that candidate, they now have the tools behind them to fulfill that type of potential that they have. This is Mr. Justin Brown. He's one of the school board members for Uniondale, and he's working on this project as well.
Good evening, everybody. This project is, I think, very intriguing because there's so much leadership within our school districts, so many individuals who can become leaders but just don't have the opportunity or just don't know how to go about it. So with this project right here, it gives them the opportunity to learn exactly the ins and outs about politics, learning to find different committees and join those committees. So I thought this was intriguing, and I wanted to be a part of it to, try to get our students, try to get individuals involved in this whole project. So I can't wait till we complete it and, incorporate that within our school systems and get other individuals involved. So, thank you.
In case you're wondering, the people who run the workshops are the community leaders. So people who have gone through as candidates, people who are leaders, who are proficient as public speakers, people who are proficient as politicians, who've done this and who are part of this, who have this craft as part of their life. And people like you and me, who are just interested in politics and want to see a change in our community for the better. So this is a wonderful opportunity to become part of the solution through the Pipeline Project. Back to me. So the grant research is something very important, also again from your Assemblywoman. There are thousands and thousands of grants out there, and the key is to learn how to find these grants and how can you match the potential of someone who's funding the grants. So in my research, my background is in education, so my doctorate's in education, so research has always been part of my life since I was 18 years old. But that's not the same for everyone. If you're in a nonprofit and you need money, grants are the way to go. So someone like myself who's accustomed to doing research and enjoys it for some strange reason can jump onto a website and help you facilitate and go through the processes of just finding the research, finding the grant that's possible for you. There's so much out there, literally millions and millions of dollars that's waiting to be tapped in by various different types of community leaders and organizations and different education levels, not just higher ed and health. When people think of grants, a lot of people just think that's for people doing science or education. Not so. There's so much out there for culture, for arts, for community development, for nutrition, for feeding our kids right and getting them through school and getting them into higher ed. And it goes beyond that for senior citizens and for healthcare. So all these resources are available, and by contacting our office, we can help guide you to find the right funder available for you.
Thank you, Dr. Jim. I'd like to call the Assemblywoman up to talk about this next session, next slide, legislation slide.
Okay, so when you pass your first bill in the Assembly, they announce it, and it's a big deal, and they clap, and you are solidified in New York history as someone who created a law. And I have not had that opportunity yet, but it is coming very soon, so I am really excited. And I just want to speak about some legislation that I have co-sponsored in the interim. I cannot see that one. All right, so I have co-sponsored about 60 bills so far, and counting. I think I co-sponsored another 80 before I left yesterday. But I wanted to pull some legislation that I did support because the reality is we do represent the entire state of New York. We want legislation that's going to benefit the entire state, but it's always extra special when you're supporting legislation that will benefit your direct community. So for education, we broke it down into different areas. So in education, I supported a bill by Assemblywoman Richardson. It establishes a culturally responsive education curriculum and standards. So this is an education law that was passed where we are going to really have to require schools to start teaching African American studies and history. I don't know who has been in school recently, but if it's taught, it's usually, you know, glazed over, or it's an optional course for people to learn. And considering the history of this pretty new country, African Americans were very integral in building this country. So I think that is definitely something that we need to spend a lot of time on and acknowledge at all points. And then we have, okay, so Assembly Member Cook, I co-sponsored a bill that directs the Commissioner of Education to create a pilot program to, sorry, we're remixing over here. To create a pilot program to improve social and emotional learning in schools. Now, I am a big proponent of the holistic experience anytime people receive medical treatment or education. We are not, you know, one facet. We are very multifaceted. So I love those schools where they want to treat the child as a whole. They want to connect them to the community, to their parents. And I think that's very important, especially in our very underserved communities where parents are maybe working too much or not available, and our children still have those needs. They really do. So I thought that pilot program was amazing so that children are able to understand how they can socially and emotionally thrive regardless of their circumstances. And then community beautification, under that pillar, I co-sponsored a bill with Mike LaPetrie. It relates to authorizing and directing the MTA to implement a fair refund program for canceled or delayed Long Island Railroad trains. Who has been on a delayed Long Island Railroad train? Who has received a refund? Okay, so this is where bills get fun because I have definitely been on canceled and delayed trains, and I've gotten a shrug, and it is cold when you're transferring at Jamaica, and it would be nice to get that money back. And as the MTA is dealing with their plethora of issues, I think it's the perfect time to figure out what we could do to make the experience a lot more user-friendly, which I think will ultimately increase usership. You know, community beautification, McDonald relates to special proceedings to convey title to abandoned real property to cities, towns, or villages. Just making sure we have a better system. How many people have seen zombie houses in our district? Okay. I live across the street from a zombie house. I think we're going on, what, 2-3 years? 2-3 years? Yeah, I've had to live across the street from a boarded up home. And to know what I paid for my home and to know what I paid for my taxes, it is really sad to experience that. And you know, I think last year I saw a man coming from the backyard, and I'm just like, this is really not safe. And I am living, breathing the issues that we have in our community. So any system that we could have to be a lot more diligent about tracking these properties and figuring out what we're going to do with them, I am all for that. I'll share one more. Can you go to, I think I'm on the next page. Is it next page? It's not? Is that it? That's it. All right, what was my next one? Oh, okay. So, Assemblywoman Joyner prohibits the adjustment of maximum allowable rent where any modification, increase, or improvement is made to accommodate the needs of a disabled tenant. So housing is a really big concern in our community, especially in Hempstead, where we do have a large majority of renters. And I've received so many constituent complaints and concerns about how our tenants are treated, the conditions of a lot of apartments, and especially for our disabled tenants. Like, you know, landlords have really creative ways of making situations very uncomfortable so they can have people move out, or, you know, they can kind of control their business of renting a little bit better. So we have done a lot of reform around renting here in the state of New York, so I'm really, really happy about that.
this section, before you go to the next, on the campaign trail, you know, it was a tough campaign. A lot of people said that we'll have people who are very popular in the community that'll be working with us, and if they hear an issue that we're not aware of, they'll give us the information and we'll get on top of the problems. Next slide. Our volunteer opportunities, Dr. Jen again, she's part of this.
So we have some amazing volunteers in our office that help with day-to-day tasks in the office. The basic ideas of answering the telephone and taking messages and making sure that every constituent is heard. But they also go beyond that, beyond administrative duties. They're involved in projects. We have students from Hofstra volunteering in our office who are political science majors and want to learn more about government from the small local government to the federal government. So they come to our office and they volunteer, and we give them special projects to work on. We also have volunteers such as you just met, Mr. Justin Brown, who are professionals in our community who are using their talents to assist us to cultivate a better team and a better environment for all the constituents of our district. So the volunteer opportunities that we have are plentiful and important to us, and we have many that are here tonight that we obviously would love to thank each and one individually. To stand if you are around. Kent is here. One in the back. And unfortunately, two of our volunteers who wanted to be here are unable to for personal reasons. But in all, the incentive is to gain knowledge on how a government office functions, to develop their own professional and interpersonal skills and potentially add that onto their resumes, and to be a voice for the community. You are the people out there living each life, like all of us. But having volunteers out there coming in and letting us know, hey, this is what's going on in my school, this is what's going on in my neighborhood, this is what's going on in my senior center. These are the voices that are helping us, not just to put together the most important issues for everyone, but also volunteering and being a part of the government. So thank you to all of our volunteers.
I don't know if you can see this, but it basically just tells you when our office is open, and there's always someone there. That someone is definitely me. So office is closed on Mondays. On Tuesdays it's open from 10 to 5. Wednesday 10 to 5. Thursday is 12 to 7. And Friday is 10 to 5. So again, the phones will always be answered. The door is always open for you. So all you have to do is come by, stop in, and there's always someone there to assist.
Thank you, guys. I just want to call the Assemblywoman up. We'll take a few questions. We're on a time limit, so we'll have to keep the questions short.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today, and I want to hear concerns. I would love to hear some questions, and I'm not going anywhere, at least for the next year and a half, so anything you guys need, I am very accessible. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Oh, we got one right here. Give me the mic.
Congratulate you and your team for doing a fantastic job, and I'm here to support you 100% of the way. I'm Jacqueline Murphy. I've already visited your office and was received royally. So, and I came because I want to be a volunteer. But my question to you today is, 3 years ago, every year I was able, not only me but constituents, able to get a check from the state and the state finance department issued the check, because my school district, which is the Roosevelt School District, kept their budget at 3% or lower. Now, my question to you is whether that bill is still active or it is no longer current.
I'm loud. That's a good question. We are writing down your question, and we will have an answer for you tomorrow. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Hello, hi Taylor. I too think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
It's good to see our Assemblywoman. You know, I haven't seen one in years, so thank you for showing up.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. But I do have a question. My name is Pearl Jacobs, president of the Nostrand Garden Civic Association in Unionville. And I do have just a question. Maybe your executive director, Wayne Hall Jr., can look into this for me. I just have a little concern with this map, okay, because it just does not depict, you know, or encompass the full scope of the Unionville boundaries. And you know we are consistently fighting and striving against the encroachment of the East Garden City identity for Uniondale. We did have work with Legislator Bino, and she has, at our request, and I applaud her because she has placed signs. You know, if you didn't know, if someone didn't know the area and they were just driving through down Hempstead Turnpike, they would not know that the north side of Uniondale, Hempstead Turnpike is Uniondale as well, okay? So I approached, worked with Legislator Bino, and she was successful in having some signs put up right at Mitchell Field, okay, Earl Ovington Boulevard, as well as Charles Lindbergh. She put up a new sign today, and she put up one a few weeks ago. So we are fighting diligently against that encroachment. So, you know, I just want to point this out, that, you know, we are north of Hempstead Turnpike as well. That's Mitchell Field is Uniondale.
Great.
Thank you.
And as thank you for that. And as far as I'm concerned, East Garden City doesn't exist. As far as I'm concerned. So I will be writing a letter to the census. I know that our former Uniondale president of the Uniondale Chamber of Commerce has written letters to the census, but I do feel like this needs to be a very big joint effort so that we are not, no one's bamboozled, let's just say that. No one's bamboozled out of land and commercial tax base, which our school district and our community heavily relies on. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can you explain to me why you can't pull the Assembly Bill A05406, giving the Armory to the Village of Freeport, talk to the community, specify what the Armory can and cannot house? Basically because the mayor is sending out letters to his village employees telling them how desperately they need a DPW, and to sign this letter and send it up to Albany. In the meantime, in Northeast Freeport, I would say most of your constituents are in Northeast Freeport. Anyone in Freeport is probably in the Northeast. They don't want a DPW in their community, in their local communities, near their schools, near the playgrounds. So tell me why you can't pull this bill. Talk to the community as you promised, and then specify what's in the bill, what can and cannot go to the Armory, and then submit a new bill. Tell me why you can't do that.
So, my term right now is 2 years. And currently, or at least since 2011, the Armory has sat there and not served the community fully. This has been one of the biggest issues that I was approached with. This is probably something that's discussed constantly in the Village of Freeport. And I want to be in office still when we decide what happens with that property. Now, because of the attention that the Armory has received, our governor, the Senate, and the Assembly are not going to make any moves on that property unless there is a consensus.
Amen. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Not in our neighborhood.
Now, the only thing that we could all agree upon,
You can pull the bill, though. Pull it. That's all we ask that you do, is pull the bill and speak to
Now-
your community.
That's
and
simple.
Speak to the community that lives in Northeast Freeport, where those dump trucks are gonna be housed, where our children will be walking the streets.
So-
You're unhappy with the zombie house. We don't want DPW there. We
Okay.
don't want it.
So these things take time to happen, right?
It only takes a minute.
It takes a minute to pull a bill, but there is no guarantee of who will be in this seat in a year and a half or after that. Right now, that land sits there useless. 3 acres of land sitting there useless. Sitting there where a child could wander onto the premises and hurt themselves. Sitting there where anything can happen. We know what abandoned buildings do and what abandoned areas do. It is.
So you would rather a DPW there?
No, I don't. What I would want.
Well, let her finish talking.
What I would want there is whatever the community jointly decides is there. And what I would like, in a perfect world, if it was Taylor World and I could do this all by myself, it would be a multi-purpose place. There are already 2 structures on that land. It is 3 acres. And I can put whatever I want in a bill, but if there's no consensus, nothing is happening.
You have a consensus if you put what?
Not with the Senate and not with the governor. I will not have a consensus. And this is something that I would like resolved so we can actually utilize that land for our community. That's what I would like. I would love to see that. It will be my great life's work. So we can all find other things that we can do to continue to push the Freeport area forward. I am committed to being at that table, but I cannot be at that table if I'm pulling bills, someone else comes in, does something else, and then they get to decide whatever they want and there's no community involvement. I get it, this is definitely a leap of faith, yes.
There's no community involvement.
You're right, this bill could go through and the village could say we're gonna do what we wanna do anyway, right? But at the beginning of my presentation, I spoke about relationship building. And yes, I do understand in Nassau County we do have an environment of systematic processes that have really kind of not treated a lot of us very well. You know, we can pay into the system, but when it comes time to reap any benefits or it comes time to have the standards of our cohorts that are paying what we're paying, we see the disparity right away. I need to be at that table. And the only way I can assure that I'm at that table for you and with you is if it happens during this term. And I know we don't see it and we don't understand it right now, but I'll tell you this, if someone could have gave you the armory before me, you guys would have the armory. I'm happy to meet with both of you. You don't want to meet with me, right? Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all.
She's saying.
We're gonna.
That's all.
That's all
And
she
talk
said.
to the
Right.
community.
Right.
That's all we're asking.
Nothing to do with it.
Is that fair enough?
Just let it to the one.
The bill
You
is
promised
currently.
that you would talk to
Okay,
us.
and I'm speaking to you right now, and I can speak to you, and I can speak to you both tomorrow. The bill is sitting in the Government Operations Committee. Nothing is done until it's done. And even if the bill did go through, nothing is concrete until it's concrete. So let's set up an emergency meeting. I will make myself available and we can talk. You can do both concurrently. But as your leader, as your elected leader, I have to make decisions where I can actually make an impact. And if we can get a consensus that says this belongs to Freeport, which you all do live in, you are Freeport residents, I'm giving it back to Freeport. And I'm standing there at that gate to make sure that we are included and we are part of that conversation. I cannot do anything by myself. I need that consensus. So I will meet with you guys tomorrow. I'm happy to meet with you guys tomorrow.
I don't need the microphone. First of all, good evening, everyone, Freeport residents. Assemblywoman Taylor, congratulations, and we are pulling for you. You may not feel that with some contentious issues, but you may feel that you don't have support. You do have support, but we need to talk about those issues that are contentious. Because as the leader, you have to talk to us sometimes about difficult issues. And those difficult issues, we need to see not only the truth, but we also need to see hope and possibilities. Now, in terms of that, of the Armory, what we're concerned about, what I'm concerned about, being a resident that lives in Northeast Freeport, that once the control of the Armory is given to the village, just like you give that permission to a developer when they take a piece of property any way they want to develop, they are in control of that property. They can do whatever they want to do with it. The village of Freeport wants to move DPW down there. I get it. I was on the Superstorm Standing Committee where we got $17.8 million. The village decided not to spend any money on the DPW. Why? Because there were other important projects they needed to focus on. Power Plant 1 needed to be fortified, needed to have water barriers up there. We need to make sure that we put up fences by the wetlands to protect the power plant. That's crucial for us. If we would have lost that during Superstorm Sandy, we still would be running around trying to figure out how to get the power up and running. DPW took some damage. Yes, it is. Topography. Because where it's located on the southern edge of the peninsula, it's going to flood. That's why they put it up there. DPW, does great work for us, but they also do some bad things. They pollute the environment. They contaminate. They bring all of that. The USTs, the underground storage tanks, all of that petroleum, heating oil, all of the things that we don't want, they keep it up there so we don't see it, so our quality of life moves on. Because I guarantee you, people would complain if they're driving down the street and the street is not clean. But we got, a mound of rock salt high as houses to make sure it's over there. Don't move all of that contamination, pollution down into a residential area. That's why it's in the South Peninsula. I'm sorry it pollutes the area up there, but where else are you going to put it? You can't put it in a residential area. My home values will go down because of that. My children, my children are grown, but the children that live in our community, they have to deal with all those trucks and police vehicles and fire trucks, and everything the village uses will be put down there for us to see. We got a beautiful camp down there. We have a beautiful cathedral set up on Babylon Turnpike. It's gorgeous down there. You go down 100 feet down Babylon Turnpike, all hell breaks loose. It's all disorganized. We got trucks everywhere, parking on streets. All of this stuff is going on. All right, North Main Street, are you kidding me? Have you looked at it? We're not impressed with that. I guarantee you, the people who live in Northwest Freeport, they tell their friends, don't go down North Main Street. Go down Brookside. Go through Roosevelt. Go through Roosevelt and then come to Freeport. North Main Street is a major thoroughfare right into our downtown, and we're just ignoring it. It has to stop. Pull the bill. You can pull it. You can pull that bill. Pull it. Pull the bill.
We understand your concerns, and remember when I said, bring a group, let's sit down and talk about it. But
we've been talking about this armory for years. Listen,
I understand.
Our predecessor, the only reason it didn't go through, she couldn't get the votes. Because it's political, man. It's political. She couldn't get the
we would definitely like to sit down and meet with you. We hear your concerns.
Pull the bill, man. All you have to do is pull the bill.
We're available all the time.
JR, all you have to do is pull the bill, sit down with the community. No, you came up into my church and talked to us.
Dewey, come on.
You didn't tell the truth.
We're going to keep this.
You didn't tell us.
We're going to keep this civilized. Come on,
You did not tell us.
Dewey, we understand.
No, you're done. I pay $12,000 a year in taxes in Northeast Freeport. I'm going to speak tonight.
Hey, Dewey.
I'm speaking tonight. I don't want to
speak to us. You can contact Anissa. You can come to our office.
Pull the bill.
We're not going to do this right now.
That's all you have to do.
Dewey, Come on, I
Come on,
understand.
Griffin over in
I
Lynbrook, she
understand.
co-sponsored the
Griffin
bill.
talked to me.
She hasn't even been to North
Anybody
Freeport.
from Freeport that would like to sit down with the Assemblywoman, our office is
Pull
always
the
open.
bill.
At our
Pull
office hours
the
here.
bill.
All right?
Pull
Do
it.
is give me a
So,
call. and
pull
we
it.
Is
can-
there any other question besides the Freeport Armory in this room?
One day, and the next
Is
day.
there anything?
I'll get this guy and I'll get you. I'm sorry, I didn't say.
Sitting here, talking to Miss Taylor this way. I want to see you at the free. All of you beautiful people in here, sitting in here, giving Miss Taylor all this problem. I want to see you guys at the Freeport Town meeting. Because I am there. I want to see you all there. Thank you. That's what I got to say.
May I answer that? When you go to a meeting and the mayor and all the trustees vote the same way on, I don't care, he's new, on every bill, I watch.
Okay, this is not going to be a debate. We're gonna cut this meeting short because if you guys want to speak to us in our office, who's that? This is the last question.
Oh, we got 3 police officers down there. 3
Good afternoon, how are you?
Because we're having a...
My name is Phoebe Irvin. I have a question for you. You just said not too long ago that the armory is empty, has not been used, correct? I'm not debating you on that. Okay, correct, good. I'm an American veteran, 21 years in the Army. We use that army twice a year over there for the town of Roosevelt and Freeport. Okay, wait. Am I finished, ma'am? Trust me, I'll let you talk. Okay. The issue and problem I have is this. There are so many homeless veterans. Freeport and Roosevelt, it's not even funny. They need some place to go within their own community. Number one, so they won't be judged because who they are. Okay? A lot of them don't want to go to Northport, it's too far. A lot of them don't want to go to Jamaica, that's too far. They need something here in their own community, not to wait until Thanksgiving to get something, not to wait until around July to get a gift to say, oh, thank you for my service and stuff like that. So we need to think about these things when we say, oh no, not the Army and stuff like that. Because the people in this community, Freeport, Roosevelt, well, Freeport, they are suffering. And I am one of the American veterans who's going to fight for them at no cost.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
We still have Freeport trustee Sweary here who's going to speak on this.
Yes, I was elected last month and I took office April 1st. So yes, 2 weeks ago I took office. But I will tell you, as a trustee, that the Armory, I know it's a sensitive subject. It is not a foregone conclusion that the DPW will be going to the Armory. Okay?
It is. It's in her bill. It's in her bill. Yes, it is. Just where she justifies her bill, where she's going to move DPW, where the Village of Freeport will acquire the building and move DPW down there. Now, if you haven't been to DPW, it's on the southern edge of the peninsula in the industrial park. Go down there. You will see all of it's like a salvage yard down there with everything. Everything you can imagine. All the new signs that they put up in Northwest Freeport, they're dumped down there. They have cars dumped down there. They have trailers dumped down there. Pull that bill. That's all you have to do.
I'm gonna make the statement, and this is the way, this is the statement we're gonna make. Okay. If the legislation passes, now the Armory was given.
That's all I said. Put it in.
We can't have a conversation if everyone is just cutting people off. We get what you mean and we get what you want, but.
The village gave the land to the state for the Armory use. Sold it. Okay. We want the opportunity to buy it back. Okay? So, okay. So, what we want to do is get the Armory back to the village, and then we are going to get all the input. We are not just saying right away that DPW is going to go up there. We may not want, listen, we have to be very careful. there is, right behind that armory is one of our wells and our water tower.
Yes.
It isn't, we have to make sure that everything gets done. And for the last, I don't know how many years, there have been Army trucks, there have been a lot of different Army vehicles, county vehicles. There's trucks on that property right now. Now, we have to go through all the processes, and there will be community meetings. You will have a voice, you will have it.
No.
I will make sure, I want you to be there. I want to hear you, and you will be there. Listen, we could be talking about a lot of things that might not even be true tonight.
Do you have a copy of the letter that your mayor gave out to his staff?
That's right.
That's
That's right. This is the letter you're passing around to, like, village employees.
Yes. And
Village
the mayor has
employees
gone
are
on
getting
record.
that letter.
The mayor has gone on record, it was in the Herald.
Sir, can you read that? I would like to know what that's saying, please.
Okay.
Read it.
Respectfully request that without further delay, consideration provision should be pursued to transfer ownership of the armory to the village of Freeport prior to sustaining future flood damages. The public works suffered over $7.3 million in damages resulting from Superstorm Sandy. The army location on Babylon Turnpike is a logical choice for relocating the DPW facility. It is conveniently located next to major arteries of travel, is not in a 100-year flood zone, and would need minimal retrofitting. Therefore, without adding a significant burden to the village's taxpayers, to transfer the army to New York State of the Incorporated Village of Freeport would provide a secure inland location. Yes, this letter is here. It says that. But I will tell you
The
that...
village employees are getting that letter.
Okay.
They're being pressured to sign that letter.
Dewey,
Village
I'm telling you
employees.
right now, I've had conversations with the mayor. The mayor spoke to at a meeting with the clergy, meeting with other people. It was in the Herald. There will be community input. We will all discuss it, and it is not a done deal.
Chris, once you
I'm
get
just
the
telling
building,
you,
you will
I'm not
do
gonna get
whatever
into
you
a
want
debate with you.
Chris, once you get control of the building, you can have all the PR meetings you want with the public.
If anybody has any other questions, please let me know.
You control the building.
And I will gladly
Chris,
answer.
you know this is wrong.
Dewey,
Pull the bill.
Okay, Dewey, you're
DPW
entitled
should
to your
not be there.
opinion.
No.
I am a man of my word.
Yes, I should have the glasses down.
It's really wonderful to have a new face, new life. My concern is about Roosevelt, about the smoke shops. We only 1 mile, and we have 3. We have 2 on Nassau Road. One is 24 hours, and one is on Babylon Turnpike. Will you be able to do anything about these vaping shops?
We'll look into that, yeah. What was the address again?
It's 2 on Nassau Road. One is right across the street from the cleaners. That's a 24-hour one.
Houston, President of the Englewood State Civic Association, and congratulations on your 100 days.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you. Also, what I wanted to say is the streets, the roads. We have some pretty bad roads between Hempstead, Uniondale, Roosevelt, Freeport, and they're in bad need of repairs. Okay?
So when I went around and spoke to the community, you think, oh, the issues are going to be high taxes or education or anything. My number one issue that was reported was the quality of our roads. A lot of us moved from the boroughs and we'd say, thank God we don't live near Atlantic Avenue again because we can drive down the street and keep our tires on our car. And I don't know when this happened, but all of a sudden I feel like I am driving on Atlantic Avenue as I drive throughout the district. So my sister actually went to Germany and she actually did a little research and she said, they have really extreme weather. They don't have issues with potholes. What's the problem? And I spoke to the president of LICA, the Long Island Construction Association, and he said that the reason why they don't have those issues with potholes is because they're usually using cold mixes where we use hot mixes. And of course, as we all know, there's always more money in the symptoms, treating the symptoms, than solving the problem. So this summer, one of the first things I'll be doing in hot July is sitting down with engineers and researchers to get a cost analysis to find out if we can have a couple of test roads in the district and just try some different processes. Also, we have those issues where how many people work in the pavement business in here? Okay, one, great. Okay, so the rest of us, we won't know how someone's repairing the road. We won't know if they're doing a patch job versus a full repair, what they're using, what process they're using, if he had enough to eat for lunch. Like, we don't know what the process is. We see work being done. A lot of us aren't communicated when work is done. We just deal with the inconvenience, which I hate that. People should not walk outside and see a hole in the middle of their street. And we don't know what the process is, and when we're not familiar with the process, how can we hold anyone accountable? So instead of us all going to engineering school, I am definitely pledging to find out as much as I can about the roads, this process, who our main vendors are, how the bids are there, and that is what I really want to spend a lot of time doing, because I spoke to Laura Curran and said if we could resolve potholes in Nassau County, we can retire tomorrow, because it is a serious issue throughout the county and something that we all experience. So thank you for that comment, and
Thank you. Hi, congratulations again. My question is regarding the hub, Union now being developed. Here, approximately 72 acres of land around the Coliseum. My concern is that we're going to need a major transportation study for that, because it's going to impact all the surrounding areas and so forth, because you're going to have all these traffic generators from new hotels to retail, and it's going to be a madhouse unless some proper study is done. Thank you.
so we just wrote that down. We're going to attack it county first and then state, the Department of Transportation, to see what their next week. Come into the office. We're working on team development, and anything that we can do, we are here for you. Thank you so much for this first 100 days.